I am here to share my experience being on YouTube for the past 4 years in an effort to save you time and energy of growing your YouTube channel. Here are the many lessons and discoveries that I have made. I have 10 of these points, so make sure that you stick around to the end of this video, but I'll also put timestamps down below so you can follow along. Probably the first and most important thing that you have to do when you start a YouTube channel is to commit to the long term. YouTube is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Trust me on this. It may be easy to get caught up in the people who have lots of subscribers and get tons of views on their videos, but I caution you, do not compare your start to someone else's middle. I have heard that quote multiple times, and you may have as well, but it really resonates with me because I have found myself in that position, but it really doesn't actually serve me, and it really doesn't even make any sense to do that. You will find that many creators have had a very humble beginning in their YouTube journey, and starting out, their videos were probably only getting a handful of views, and almost for a fact, you can guarantee that their videos were not as good as they are right now. For most people in most channels, it will take a solid 18 to 24 months to start to see sustainable growth on YouTube. There is a caveat. This is just my hypothesis, but there's definitely some data that backs this up, including a great YouTuber who I've been following for a while, Ali Abdaal. When it comes to your mindset, it would be wise to allow yourself enough time to become more successful on YouTube. If you understand this point of committing to the long term and that you know and you have confidence that over time you will be successful, then all you have to do is give yourself time and space in order to do that. Once you have committed to the long term, it's very important when you start out, you need to tell YouTube what your channel is all about. For a brand new channel or a relatively small channel without a lot of content, the YouTube algorithm does not know what your channel is about. So it is your job to tell YouTube what your channel is all about. What is the purpose of your YouTube channel? What problems does it help solve? And what audience, what viewer would be most interested in your content? Imagine meeting someone for the first time and all that you knew about them was their name, nothing else. It would be pretty difficult to introduce that person to someone else that you know that would benefit from the relationship. You would be left to just guessing as to who would want to know this unknown person. On the other hand, let's say you meet someone new and they were able to share more details about themselves, talking about their likes, their dislikes, their opinions, what their beliefs are, what their style is, etc. This would allow you to have a much better understanding of who that person is, thus allowing you to recommend or introduce that person to someone else that you know. Therein lies the power of giving YouTube more information about your channel by publishing content around a certain set of topics. And more on that to come later. Now, this next lesson is very important and a lot of you need to hear this. It can be very intimidating when you start to see videos on YouTube and the creators have nice camera equipment and fancy microphones. You might even be slightly impressed with the setup that I have here, but trust me, there's people who have a lot more camera gear. But the trap is to think that you have to have all of this stuff figured out before you get started. So my suggestion is to get started with the gear that you have and then upgrade over time. I am a video gearhead, but I also realize that having better gear does not make your videos grow faster on YouTube. And as a full-time videographer for 4+ years, I can say with confidence that having better camera equipment does not equal better videos. Every week, I'm humbled by the amount of people that ask me questions about camera gear, and they're valid questions. But I also realize that this becomes a major hang up with new content creators because they believe that they have to have the latest gear just to get started, when in reality, they don't. The most that you need to start creating content on YouTube is a smartphone that records in at least 1080p. That's it. In fact, there are countless channels that have seen an extreme amount of success, and the only equipment that they use is a smartphone. So if you have a smartphone, great, use it. Once you start, then you can start to make some upgrades to your setup, and I would highly recommend it in this order: audio, lighting, and then your camera. Audio is 50% of video. Overall quality of your videos will improve simply by recording better audio. That starts with a dedicated microphone. You can use either a lavalier microphone that clips on to your shirt. You can use a shotgun microphone or a podcast style microphone like the one I'm using right now. Here are examples of all three: the DJI wireless mic system, the Shure MV7, which is the microphone I'm using right now, and the Rode video mic. The next thing that I would improve is the lighting, because bad lighting will make a great camera look horrible, and good lighting will make a decent camera look great. Check out these examples right here. And if you don't have any lighting, you can use natural light to start, since it's free and available for us to use every single day. To use natural light, I would get closer to a window. Position yourself so that the window is lighting you, the subject. And don't shoot with the windows behind you unless you have a dedicated light lighting you, the subject. And if you want to pick up some video lights, I recommend the GVM light, or you can pick up a simple ring light on Amazon. I will say that softer light is more pleasing and flattering than hard light. I have a video of that. If you want to check it out, I talk a little bit more about the lighting setup that I use to create my videos. Once I have made improvements to the audio and lighting, then would I recommend upgrading your camera. And there's lots of options here. You can check out my other videos of some really good budget-friendly cameras that you can pick up to start creating your YouTube videos. And I know I can go a lot deeper in equipment, but really if you're just starting out on YouTube, or again, this is the lesson that I learned, was to not get too consumed with gear, to keep it simple and just focus on making videos. Which leads into the next step, which is to improve one aspect of the video creation process with each upload. On YouTube, there's a lot of different things that go into making just one video. From the idea, to the title, to the thumbnail, to the script, to the outline, to the lighting, to the audio, to the pacing, to the editing, the effects, the storyline, description, the tags. There is a lot. And it's practically impossible to create the perfect video every single time. The better approach is to pick one aspect of the full process that you're going to improve upon for each video. For example, you might decide to improve your audio quality by moving closer to your smartphone instead of being farther away. For the next video, you may decide to do some research on video titles to get it just right so people want to click on it. Then you might focus on the editing and the pacing, adding in some visual effects so that it's engaging for the viewer. The beauty and the challenge is that there's going to be a never-ending cycle of improvement. But if you do this over time, your videos will get better and better, and you will start to unlock newer levels of success. You actually will start to look back at your old videos and be really impressed and surprised as to how much growth you have had simply by getting better with every single video. The key is to not be overwhelmed by this, but actually to give you more focus by only improving one aspect of one video with each upload. I have found this to be very effective, as it gives me the ability to experiment with different things and to figure out what I like, what I don't like, which setups look best, and what tactics provide the best results. And if you only did this for the entire year on YouTube, you would look back at your first videos and be completely surprised at how far you've come. This next tip applies not only to just your YouTube journey, but I would even go as far to say as your life in general. In the past, I have struggled but have continued to get better at limiting distractions and avoiding shiny objects. John Carmack has said, focus is a matter of deciding what things you are not going to do. And this quote really resonates with me because a lot of times we're trying to figure out what things we do need to do. But in fact, focus is a matter of saying no more than saying yes. Focus is extremely important to your success in any venture, but especially since we know that YouTube is a long game. Throughout your journey on YouTube, you might be tempted to try new things, to create a second or third channel, to try another online opportunity, and there is no shortage of them. But I caution you, always chasing the new thing or always being sucked into the next shiny object will keep you from seeing the results that come from being patient and saying no to more opportunities than not. To be real, shiny objects will always appear. You just have to be disciplined to stay the course on what you initially committed to doing, and you will be rewarded for that. I have been on YouTube for a handful of years now, but I have always struggled to focus on just one or two things, mainly because I'm just interested in a lot of different things. And that might be you as well. But I'm telling you from experience, going from this thing to that thing, back to the original thing, will leave you feeling like you haven't gotten anywhere. And that sucks. So in an effort to help you not make that same mistake, say no to 99% of opportunities out there and go all in on one thing. As we are on the topic of having focus, we need to also do this with our niche. And a niche is basically just a category of content. Most niches can be identified by combining your interests, your experience, your expertise, or your hobbies. While you might have different niches that you can create content around, I would suggest starting with one. This does not mean that you cannot pivot to a different niche, especially if you still are experimenting and learning to get good and making videos on YouTube. However, having a focus will help YouTube understand what your channel is about and who might be interested in watching those videos. Picking a niche also helps you create a focus for your channel, or what I like to call a container. That makes it easier for YouTube to understand, and your ideal audience will feel right at home when they find and discover your channel. Over time, your niche will evolve as you, as a creator, will evolve. You will find what resonates with your audience and what type of content you enjoy making. There are a ton of niches out there, so don't limit yourself to what ideas you might have. After identifying a niche, one of the things that has really helped me is creating content pillars. This was actually one of the first things that I did when starting this channel. It has helped me to generate more ideas, focus on a key few categories, and help build authority around those topics. For example, under the niche of content creation, I have three main pillars. Content strategy, an example would be this type of video that you're watching now. Content processes, so the process of creating content, the how-tos. And lastly, the tools, all of the equipment and the apps needed to help create content. Every time that I go to write down a new video idea, I ask, which pillar does this video idea fit into? If it doesn't fit, then I will leave that idea to the side on my list of yet, but most of the ideas will fit into one of these three categories. And you might have more content pillars. You probably can have 3, 4, 5, or maybe even 6, but I wouldn't suggest having too many to start with. Over time, your content pillars will evolve, so don't feel like you have to pick your content pillars and stick to them forever. It's okay to change. Leading into the next point, inside of your content pillars, you might want to create different formats for your videos and experiment with different formats. In my mind, a format is a style or structure or framework for a specific type of video. It's almost like a repeatable format for a video type that can be duplicated just by changing a few details of the video. The most popular YouTuber, Mr. Beast, does this really well on his channel. You will see several that fall into one of these video formats. The this versus that, keep hand on X object for Y period of time and you get to keep it, or the $1 versus the expensive thing. The versus format is a great idea that can apply to a lot of different channel niches, and it can work really well for product reviews. My suggestion is to try a few different formats, see what you like, see what's fun and enjoyable for you to create, and also see if your audience really enjoys it. Once you have found a format that works, then you can continue to make videos in that style over time. And then all it is changing out a few different details, a few different variables in order to make a new video. In the spirit of experimenting, my next tip is to try a mix of short form and long form content. Short form content is here to stay. For the longest time, YouTube has been known for, and is still known for, being the most popular long form video sharing platform. However, it has adopted to the growth of short form content, mainly influenced by TikTok. Because YouTube now offers both types of content, it would be wise to try a mix for a couple of reasons. The first is that you get to explore what content formats and styles you like to create. Second, viewers on YouTube can actually discover you in multiple formats. Oftentimes, after watching a creator's YouTube short, you will then be recommended some of their relevant long form videos. With reach being much higher on average for YouTube shorts, this is a great way to reach a broader audience. Again, you have to try and see what works best for you and what works for your audience. You might find that YouTube Shorts has a lot of potential and growth, but you might also find that long form is really where you're gaining traction. And the only way to find that out is if you try and you experiment for yourself. This next tip is really important if you want to continue to grow over time on YouTube. You've probably heard the saying, what gets measured gets improved. This is especially true with YouTube. YouTube gives creators a lot of valuable information about our videos. We can use this information to improve our channels and our videos. So by learning the YouTube analytics, learning how to navigate this in the Creator Studio will serve you very well. I probably look at the YouTube analytics in the Creator Studio way too often, especially as a very young channel. But I will say that understanding what the metrics mean are really important because it's going to help you to make better decisions and to grow your channel over time. The main analytics to take note of are average view percentage or average view duration and click-through rate. While there is more depth to these metrics, this can give you a decent understanding as to how well your video titles, thumbnails are performing, as well as how good your video retention is. I know this is just one video and there's a lot more to learn about growing on YouTube. So I have a full list of videos in this playlist that you can check out to help you in your content creation journey. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.